Right. So time to talk about RCB and who we got. Who are we going to retain? Kohli is there. Wow. Surprise, surprise. Camo green, because we do need to, of course, have a good all-round presence. Rajat Patidar, why can't you retain him? Because he's been fantastic, the spin basher. And then Mohammad Siraj, who I kind of disagree with. I know it's a choice that Akshay has made. And then his beloved Yasdayal is the uncapped, who could be
No, I
capped.
think he's safe.
Graphic
He's
designer
safe.
को थोड़ा गाली दूंगा बाद में, but to be clear, it wasn't 4 names. It was only 3 retentions. It was Kohli Green at 1 and 2, and either of Siraj or Patidar would be retained, with the other being told कि RTM करेंगे. Not Siraj at 18. Neither of them would be, worth 18 crores. So it will be either Patidar being retained and Siraj potentially being looked at as an RTM option, or Siraj being retained and Patidar being looked as an RTM option. But I think they'll go ahead with 3 retentions, with of course our beloved Yashdayal being the uncapped retention.
Yashdayal will be uncapped. I think it's safe.
So your retentions are Kohli 18, Cameron Green 14, and 11 Patidar.
Yeah, Patidar or Green. I personally want Patidar because I think he adds more value to our lineup with that exceptional spin hitting skills. But even Siraj is fine because he's done well at the Chinnaswamy. He has RCB blood, to put it very simply.
Fine. So that's basically 43 crores out of the 120 that you think RCB should basically spend
Plus
before
4.
the auction.
47.
Plus 4 on Dayal.
Yeah, Yashdayal. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying if Dayal gets capped, then there's
then
no
it's
other
what-
option.
There's no chance of him getting capped. I'll tell you. There's only 2 test matches before October 31st. Anyway, India have got these 3 seamers, and there has been enough talk that Shami is potentially going to play one of the couple of test matches at least. Yashdayal is not making his test debut during this period. So
I hope, but I don't know. I don't know.
So unless a concussion substitute or something incredible happens, Yashdayal won't make his debut before the retention.
Okay. Virat Green, Siraj Singh retention, Saresh Saha. No, I don't think so. And what about people like Will Jacks, Akshay?
Potential RTM options. Maxwell तो नहीं है, मेरे लिए नहीं है. I don't know if RCB would consider him. But for
RTM
me,
option for Will Jacks, how much are you willing to buy him back for?
not more than 7-8. That's the max I'm willing to go. Uske alawa, because at the kind of batter he is, there are plenty of options available, and I say plenty while exercising some caution. But yeah, there are enough options available out there. There's Phil Saul, there's Fraser McGurk if you want to. I know, not at the same level, but aggressive intent machines who can sort of go and attack in the power play. There are decent options out there, so it's okay.
Okay, Anirudh.
Just one thing. I think RCB, as you mentioned, I think it's going to be 3+1. Virat, Green are nailed on, and the 4th one is going to be Yashdayal as an uncapped. It's a very difficult decision between Siraj and Patidar. I think, how do you even make a decision between those two? Because one, Rajat Patidar offers something very few Indian batters offer: right-hander who can hit spin, who's more than a competent player of pace, and he bats at 4, 5, 3. He could bat at 3, but likely to be batting at 4 or 5. And you've got Mohammad Siraj, who's behind Bumrah, you'd still say is one of India's premier fast bowlers. Of course, he's got his issues. He's probably not the most consistent you'd want him to be. But if you let go of Siraj, will you even get him back? I don't think you could, unless you blow the budget. So it's a very difficult
How much
call.
is Siraj?
The answer for this question is, if I know I'm getting KL Rahul, I'm going to get Patidar back. I am going to get Patidar back. But I'm keeping Siraj for now. And I'm retaining Virat.
1 second. To get in the bigger question, lads, because obviously we, in all our heads and in all RCB fan bases, maybe 1% will say retain Faf. That means obviously RCB don't have a bloody captain. So now the question is, do you want Virat to lead? Because you're spending 18 crores for him. Will Virat return as RCB captain? That's the question.
No chance.
He won't.
Then who else will you have?
You have to buy a captain. That's where someone like KL Rahul is actually going to come in. Again, हम KL Rahul इतने confidently बोल रहे हैं कि भाई आ गया. वो मैं चूतिया था last time. इस बार नहीं.
But like Markham is what I suggested. You said it, fucking Nitish Rana, bro. Markham.
अरे मैं नीतीश राणा नहीं बोला. अरे गधे मैं नीतीश राणा नहीं बोला भाई. In passing, that was a passing thought. I was thinking out loud.
No, you were adamant saying it. I can ask you right now.
Okay. I'll just.
He even said Ashwin captain.
Exactly.
Ashwin was a frontline option. I seriously considered, not Nitish Rana. Nitish Rana was ऐसे ही passing में बोल दिया.
Okay, but why do you think? But why do you not want Virat as captain?
It's not that I don't want to. I'm saying Kohli won't. I know as in we know for a fact Kohli won't come back to captaincy. He doesn't want that responsibility. He wants to play as a player. Simple. If he
So
wanted to,
none
he
of
would
the-
have gotten captaincy earlier.
So none of the retentions that we potentially might retain are captaincy options, obviously, right? We
Yeah,
don't
see,
force
I think there's two options. I don't think RCB have to worry too much about captains. I think there will be potentially you're going to see at least one of Rohit, Surya, and Hardik, and you're going to see KL. You
Enough.
blow your budget on one
इसका
of these
कैसे
three.
अटक गया है?
One of these three guys and KL, you're going to blow your
But-
budget anyway, boss.
No,
You
wait.
ideally-
Before we get to captaincy bit as well, in terms of retentions as well. So given that Siraj and Patida is going to be a very tricky proposition, ki kisko rakhna hai, the way I look at it is, at least in IPL, the perception is that Patidar is a grade A batter. He's done very well against men. He's shown that already. He's done well knockouts, maybe century mara. So that way he's ticked a lot of boxes. But with Siraj, the perception even now is that, okay, you know what, he's still not a T20 specialist. He's not a T20 bowler. I think there aren't too many teams who would be willing to bid for him in excess of 15, 16. He'd still go for 10, 11, 12.
He'll
But
go
I'm more
for,
than
the
happy.
point is he'll go above 11, he'll go below 15. Between
He
11
can,
to 15.
yeah, that's still
Yeah.
a win for us. That's still
Yeah,
a win for us.
I agree. It's
One
just that
second.
you're worried
Is there
when you
is there
rate.
any merit? One second. Is there any merit in just keeping Virat and then building a whole team around him?
Because
Green
Patidar
बहुत
are
ज्यादा है.
definitely Green, Patidar, Siraj, all are going above 11. No, 100%, all three are going above
No,
11. Why
but
would
my
you
question
put it
is,
on?
like how these guys are also saying in the chat, why need Green and Siraj and Patida? Just keep Kohli and then buy all new players.
Can't, man. You can't do
Not
that. Because
everyone
they're
can go
genuine
crazy.
proven players, right? You're genuine proven players. Unless they get a inside information saying Bumrah is leaving, then you say, okay, Virat Kohli is number one and we're going to build our entire team, as Akshay said, 60 crores bid for Jasprit Bumrah. Then keep Kohli, bid 60 for Bumrah, and then build your team around the others for 40 crores.
No,
Also, one
is
thing,
there-
Abhi, it's always the case of, one in hand is worth two in the bush. That uncertainty is something that's going to play on everyone's mind. So they would
And
want to have...
40-11 is really good value,
Yeah.
right? It's genuinely good
Exactly.
value for
Yeah.
Green and
Yeah.
Patidar or Siraj.
some people even saying, I don't want to keep Virat. Tanvir, tell us why you don't want to keep
Screw that.
Virat. I mean, is there
I
any
don't-
merit to even say that?
No,
Is there any merit?
no.
Because he's got the orange cap. Like Nick said, he doesn't want to see certain players go away from the franchise. So, Tanvir, what do you mean by saying that? I mean, unless you just want to create some attention in the chat, if you actually have merit to back it up, please back it up. And also,
Yeah.
I'm sipped in. Stop it, man. You've made your point clear. I'm not even joking. This is a chat for everyone. You can't just keep clogging it. I understand that it helps us with the algorithm, and thank you for that because it makes our chat more populated. But say more things than this. It's honestly frustrating to honestly take other questions as well. I want to get Nick's involved just quickly. And I'm sorry, we've banned you. We've never banned anyone. We've banned him. Honestly, we banned him. Rules are rules.
Maybe that was that question for some other episode. Who was the first ever viewer to get banned from an episode?
Rules are rules. Nix, where do you stand in RCB? And who are your 2-3 retentions? Tell me that. Because Kohli is one. Who are the others?
See, I'm not too sold on anybody else, to be very, very honest with you, because I don't think Siraj, for all that, he's shown enough to be saying, see, you can give him, it's your call, you're a franchise, you can do whatever you want to. But whether it is worth the 11th year for the returns that you get, I don't know. I see it as this a very good option for you to rebuild, because see, with Green also now he's gotten injured in that ODI series. And he, say whatever you want to, he will always be...
Sorry.
Very, very, very disappointed on
Yes.
that.
I'm sorry, bro. This Tanvir is... Oh, my
Yeah,
word.
we would see what Abni just said. 60 crores. Someone's going to bid 60 crores genuinely for Virat Kohli.
Hey,
Oh, my
16
God.
किसी के लिए नहीं होगा.
Okay, 45. Okay, 45.
So Nix,
40.
go on, Nix.
Yeah. So my point is, you keep Virat, and see with Green also, Australia will always micromanage it. So I don't know whether that's a good punt to make, but I agree with the price range that 14 is not at all bad for a long-term project option for you. So if you're thinking very, very realistically, probably Virat at 18, Green at 14, Siraj at 11. You can swap Siraj or here. With Patidar again, you can RTA. I don't think you can spend more than 20 plus on Siraj and Patidar. I don't think it is as worth it given the returns that you get. You can RTA him always. So to me, I'm happier to keep that option open, because if you think of it, how much do you think Patidar will go for in the option? I think max 8 or 9. I don't think he's going to go higher than that.
Okay, I just add to Nikhil's point.
No, that's a good point, Akshay. 8 or 9, yeah. Max 10, 10.5.
See, he's done well, but it's not that he's cracked the league open entirely. Last year,
I
also
agree.
he
That's
played
why
still
I
well.
would tend.
But that
I
was
would
also
go
leg
towards
spin
Siraj.
only.
No, but that's what I'm saying, right? If you don't see Patidar getting 14 or more in the auction, there's no point retaining him.
No, for Levin,
And the other thing
Patidar
is,
to be
okay, just to
11
add
you
to
can
between
keep
Nikhil's
it.
Patidar
point,
and Siraj, I'm fine. Between Patidar and Siraj, I'm fine. Whoever gets retained at that third spot, I just
we're just
don't
talking
want
11.
RCB to have a fourth retention. Yeah.
The other
Exactly
thing,
my point.
if
Yeah.
Green's
There is
issues are
nobody who's
genuine, right? If Green's issues are genuine, then we'll do what Nikhil said, in the sense Kohli stays and you build a completely new team around him. You
Agreed.
can get
Yeah.
RTM and all that. But then if Green is available and you know that
then you
his
keep.
issues are just temporary, because he's got so
Yeah.
much value to add, and he actually adapted to a role which I did not think he'd be able to do. He batted number 5
I
last
agree.
season.
I agree.
Very difficult
Yeah.
role. And his bowling, which was not used a lot by Mumbai, was used a lot by RCB. And surprisingly enough, his bowling was a lot more impressive than his batting, which in itself was pretty decent. I know
Okay.
it's extreme, it's a long-term project, and the thing with Green is, if you let him go, I don't think you can buy him back realistically, because it'll be difficult, because you want to keep Siraj and Patidar over. Funnily enough, you'd rather buy, you have alternatives for Green, is my point. You can buy a Will Jacks or a top order
Oh,
overseas
no,
batter.
no,
Whereas
sorry. I don't
I
think we
thought
have
you were
enough
saying Green
any
was
option. Other way around,
Yeah.
because
no,
there
you
is
can build
no
a team. I'm
option.
saying that you can find a new way to build a team. I don't think
I don't
see
think you can find a guy to replace Green at any spot.
Yeah.
The only reason
Yeah,
why I
I'm
would
saying you
never
build your team completely differently. You don't have like an overseas all rounder slot. Someone like, you build a
But
team in a
that's a
different manner.
then.
Then you
See,
build
it
one
works
from
with them.
scratch.
RCB have tried a lot of overseas options in pace department, and none of them have clicked as good as Green in their very first season. So to me,
That's
the
why
only
I'm
reason,
keeping Green. Unless his issues are serious,
yeah,
I'm keeping Green.
same
And
thing
because
for
of
me.
that, I'm keeping Patidar and Siraj also. I'd rather keep that 11
So
crore. I
4.
don't have a problem. I'm going 3 only, Patidar or Siraj. I don't know who out of those two. It's a very tough call.
Yeah.
I would
I
go for
took
Siraj.
Patidar more. I understand why Nick said Siraj, because he went batter, all-rounder bowler in terms of Kohli, Green, Siraj, and that makes sense because that's at least the fulcrum of your team, and then you can build around it. Lots of new names entering the MNL chat. Good to see. Pratan Chabra saying some experts are saying Kishan for RCB's captain. Having a laugh, mate. Are you having a laugh? Alan James enjoying the show, saying, do you think RCB's think tank will be able to build a bowling lineup from scratch? Achilles heel. That's the important question. With Mo Bobat still there, Akshay, and I'll come to Anirudh in just a bit. What do you think his thinking is? He's seen this team for 1 year. He's seen Virat win the orange cap. He's seen them crawl into the playoffs and then, of course, fall flat against RR in that eliminator. So do you think RCB pretty much have a good team and they just need to add? Or do you think they, of course, will just retain 1 or 2 or 3 and then take it from there?
So, firstly, wasn't the biggest fan of the squad itself. Something we all spoke about when the auction happened as well. But one thing I genuinely respected was the fact that even before the auction, Andy Flower and Mo Bobat were very clear that they're looking to build a team that's going to score in excess of 200 more often than not. And eventually, they, of course, it didn't help that in the first 6-7 games, they were still struggling with the 11 and all of that. But eventually, in the last 7 games, they did identify that 11 and they stuck to it, and we saw what happened. So I'm expecting something similar in terms of how they're going to construct a squad. They're going to build a squad that's going to bat oppositions, that's going to look to bat oppositions out of the game, given that they'll be playing 7 out of their 14 games at the Chinnaswamy. So I'm expecting 4 to 5 high-intent batters, a replacement for DK. So someone like an Inglis is actually a great option they can consider. Then there is, of course, the likes of Will Jacks, who if they can bring back, it'll be great. And so Phil Salt is another great value add because he's also a keeper, so that slot will be taken care of if Inglis doesn't come in.
Indian keeper like Jurel.
Agreed. जो मैं बोला है, bro. मतलब IPL के टाइम पे पूरा चिल्ला के बोला कि Jurel would be a great replacement for
That means obviously Rawat will be binned, right?
Why are you even asking that? Like, why
No,
is that
because
even a question?
Viraj Bharti is saying, do you know Anuj Rawat will be picked by RCB? I don't even think they'll be going back for him.
I hope Mr. Malol and Rangarajan. Again, no disrespect to the guy because WPL जीता है बंदे ने, but यार आप men's cricket में मतलब.
No, and that's why I think Santosh should have asked a good one, and you can answer this. I think you know the date, right? Do you know the date?
No, he's still a part. He's very much well and truly a part of RCB's scouting team because I saw him Maharaja Trophy में अच्छा खासा देखा था उसको था वहाँ पे.
Interesting. Guys, look, there's a lot more we want to discuss with the next two teams, but Anirudh just wants to finish up with the RCB
just one
chat.
point, with RCB. The only reason I keep, unfortunately, Siraj over Patidar is because if I keep Yashdayal, right, so I close off 2 Indian pacers. I don't have to go all out for an Indian pacer in the auction. Of course, you buy those who are cheaper, but I'm saying you don't have to like blow your budget for a 10, 11, 14 crore Indian pacer, of which there will be many in the auction. So at least I ensure that I've got Green, who's an all-rounder, I've got 2 Indian pacers, and I've got top order batter in Virat. You solely focus on building a lot of Indian Indian as well as overseas batters in your lineup, and it again gives you a lot of flexibility the way you want to use your foreign slots. You could see RCB go for someone like Tikshana. I mean, because very limited Indian spinners, Chahal, Bishnoi. I can't think of anyone else who comes into the auction as a leggy. Noor Ahmed. I'm just saying Indian. I'm just looking at Indian. Because of that fact, you've got like the likes of Tikshana, Noor Ahmed, so many exciting international spinners coming into the auction, right? So the fact that maybe even Hasranga is back at RCB as well. So you've got these different options. So from that perspective, I'd say that I'd lock these 2 Indian pacers because that gives me flexibility with the other overseas slots and go all out for getting Patidar. I will get Patidar back and a bunch of other Indian batters and overseas batters.
Just last question to all the 2 RCB fans. Do you RTM Fab?
Ooh. For how much?
No.
2 CR.
Uncapped South African.
Yeah. I wish uncapped hota, but
I don't think you can. I don't, unless you intend to make him as a starter and a captain again. I don't think it's possible to retain Fab just for dynamics perspective. He himself will not want to sit back, even as a non-captain or even more as a bench player. The dynamics won't work out. So you move on because see, he's being the captain. He did a really good job, but the problem is 40. You cannot invest him in for another 3 years, and you're not dealing with a character here. It's a human here, right? It's an actual human. I'm sure he will back himself to be RCB captain again, but you will have to make the decision from another perspective. And you can't say that, boss, you come to us, we really like you, we got you for 3.5 crores, very happy. But the point is, we've got KL Rahul in our team, who's going to be our captain, and we've got, say, hypothetical Will Jacks. Will Jacks by then would have established. So you want
I genuinely admire the confidence with which Anirudh ke dimag mein already auction wo wala KL Rahul wala ho gaya.
KL is back. KL should be retained by RCB. KL should be retained by RCB.
Hypothetically, whoever that's applicable, whoever is captain, whether it's KL or
Cricket.